Rawalpindi Women University. She holds the position of Campus Director for the Zindagi Prize, a distinguished initiative by JS Bank for the year 2023-24. Thank you, Palvasha. Let me clap for you. Thank you. And then we have Heather Ali. Heather Ali is the Green Youth Movement member from Institute of Space and Technology from Islamabad. Welcome, Ali. And he served as the president, as the captain of Green Youth Movement in last year. Then we have Mohammad Usman. Mohammad Usman has an MSc from MNS University of Agriculture. Do we have Usman here? Usman has researched the interactive effects of zinc and phosphorus application on the growth and yield of cotton. And Usman also won the Climate Challenge Fund from the British Council as well. Welcome. Then we have Ms. Zainab. Zainab is the climate activist and a journalist. She's from my community. Welcome, Zainab. Lastly, we have another young lady, Jaya Jaggi. Hope I sound correct. Jaya, we would like to welcome you. Jaya is the young development practitioner. She served as the co-founder of Green Scout. She is the member of Youth Surrounding Board, and which is working on climate, peace and security. So I would like to welcome all of you on the panel discussion of climate education for young people in Pakistan. So hope you all are doing very well. So I would like to take the floor firstly to Ali Heather. Heather, can you please tell us that how well do young people in Pakistan understand the basics of climate change and its impact on the environment and particularly in future? So over to you.
It's a very good question that how the youth of Pakistan is trying to cater climate change. Well, prior the introduction of Green Youth Movement, the youth was not sensitized as much, but after this initiative, they have realized, and also the authorities have realized the need of climate technical education, so that our youth can be equipped with the modern techniques which are very important to cater climate change. And for that purpose, Green Youth Movement has played a pivotal role in promoting the climate education, like holding various sorts of workshops. But from my personal experience, I would analyze this thing as, if I look up to myself, I have for the climate education because we have very minimum resources available within our country. So online there are lots of opportunities. For an instance, University of Oxford School of Climate Change holds an 8-week climate change course, which is very beneficial. So yeah, if I look up to myself as a youth, I did it. And so with the passage of time, the youth is analyzing this thing up, and hope so with more initiatives like Piley, things are gonna be work better for the youth of Pakistan.
Thank you, Heather, for your comment. Now I would like to give the floor to Usman. And Usman, can you please tell us that can climate literacy only be promoted through educational institute? Do you really think that we can promote the climate through these institute, or we have to go to the the community and all?
Assalamu alaikum. Wonderful question. Firstly, जो क्लाइमेट चेंज है, इसके जो हमें ऐसी सोसाइटी बिल्ड करनी होगी जिसके अंदर हम लोगों को एजुकेट कर सकें, इंडिविजुअली स्टूडेंट्स को और लेमैन को एंड फार्मर्स को, जहाँ से ये ग्रीन हाउस गैस पैदा हो रही है हमारे पाकिस्तान के अंदर, इसका ड्रॉबैक बहुत ज़्यादा है हमारे यहाँ। तो इसको हम कैसे کرے کہ اس کو ہم سیو کر سکیں. ہم اس کو ختم تو نہیں کر سکتے لیکن اس کو ہم منیمائز کر سکتے ہیں. اس کی منیمائز کی جو اسٹریٹجیز ہیں وہ چند میں آپ کے سامنے رکھتا ہوں. اس میں ہے کہ سب سے پہلے تو ہمیں ایسے ایجوکیشن سیکٹر کے اندر ایسی ٹیکنیکس کو اپروو کروانا ہوگا تاکہ کلائمیٹ کے اوپر لوگوں کو آگاہ کیا جائے کہ ہم اس کو کیسے منیمائز کر سکتے ہیں. اگر ہمیں کسی چیز کا پتہ ہی نہیں ہوگا تو ہم اس کو کیسے کریں گے کور. دین ہم اس کے سولوشنز ہیں, بہت سارے سولوشنز ہیں. مثال کے طور پہ ایگریکلچر سیکٹر کے اندر کہ ہم سنتھیٹک فرٹیلائزر کو منیمائز کر دیں اور آرگینک فرٹیلائزر کو میکسیمائز کر دیں. اینڈ ٹرانسپورٹ اینڈ مور ادر ڈیفورسٹریشن کو منیمائز کر دیں. اینڈ کاربن فٹ پرنٹ کو ہم منیمائز کر سکتے ہیں, ڈیکریز کر سکتے ہیں. اگر ہمارے پاس نالج ہوگا تو ہی ہم ڈیکریز کر سکیں گے, ادروائز نہیں کر سکیں گے. اسی لیے ایچ ای سی کا پلیٹ فارم ہے کورسیرا, اس کے اوپر کورسز اویلیبل ہیں اس کے اوپر, اور ہمیں انڈیویجولی اس کے اوپر ہم ورک کریں گے تو ہی یہ اس کو ہم ختم کر سکیں, منیمائز کر سکیں گے, ادروائز اس کو ہم منیمائز نہیں کر سکتے. انڈسٹریلائزیشن کے حوالے سے بھی اور ایجوکیشن کے اوپر حوالے سے بھی, جب ہمیں ایجوکیشن ہی نہیں ہوگی کسی چیز کی تو ہم اس کو کیسے منیمائز کر سکیں گے. تو میرا فرسٹ یہی پوائنٹ ہے کہ ہم پہلے لوگوں کو آگاہ کریں بھائی یہ ہے, اس کا ڈرا بیک ہے. ریسنٹ 2022 میں ہمیں ڈرا بیک ملا ہے کاٹن کی پروڈکشن کے اندر, جس کا جی ڈی پی کے اندر رول ہے پاکستان کی. 44% ڈکلائن ہے کاٹن کی پروڈکشن میں, جسٹ ون کراپ ان پاکستان. تو یہ سارا کس وجہ سے ہے؟ کلائمیٹ چینج, جس کے اندر ٹمپریچر ہائی ہو گئے, گلیشیئرز پگھل رہے ہیں, اور اس وجہ سے ہی ہمیں یہ ڈرا بیک آیا ہے. سوئنگ پیٹرن ٹوٹلی چینج ہو چکا ہے. یہ صرف کلائمیٹ چینج کی وجہ سے ہی ہوا ہے, اور ہماری کنٹری کو یہ سب سے بڑا لاس ہوا ہے کہ ہماری جی ڈی پی ڈی ویلیو ہوگی ہماری. اور ہم اسی طرح میں خود انڈیویجولی لوگوں کو آگاہ کرتا ہوں. میں نے مختلف سکولز کے اندر کمپینز کی ہیں برٹش کونسل کے تھرو.
Helping everyone because abhi recently everybody is talking in our group as well کہ مارچ میں کبھی کسی نے نہیں سوچا ہوا کہ برف باری ہو رہی ہو, and we are having this snowfall in March even. So انہی climate change کو آگے لیتے ہوئے ہم بات کریں گے. پلوش شاہ آپ کے پاس آنا چاہوں گی. that what do you say that what are the biggest challenge in delivering effective climate education to young people in Pakistan, اور پرٹیکولرلی اس کا جو ڈیجیٹل ڈیوائڈ ہے کلائمیٹ چینج کا افیکٹ کا ود رسپیکٹ ٹو ایجوکیشن, اس کو ہم کس طرح سے دیکھتے ہیں؟
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. Delivering the effective climate change education to young people in Pakistan is riddled with challenges, notably due to the lack of awareness and among young people. Many young people in Pakistan lack the awareness of basic knowledge and understanding of climate change and its consequences. This lack of awareness led to the young people that there is nothing like climate change. Secondly, I believe that limited resources is another challenge that Pakistan is facing. In many parts of Pakistan, the resources about the climate education is limited. This is information about climate change is very important. I can say that I'm going to plant a million tree in year 2015, but did I? I can say that women is inclusive in this climate change, but did I? So lastly, I'm going to say that cultural norms and barriers plays a very challenging role in climate change because many people do not prioritize the climate change issue in their education, thus the world doesn't know about it. And about digital divide, I'm going to say that urban central have privilege in having better access towards technologies and resources rather than rural areas. In urban, there is the connectivity, internet connectivity is readily stable and readily available. Thus, the people from there can have a technical advantage. And but in case of rural areas, there is limited electricity, and thus they do not know the value and the change they can address. So that's all from my side.
Thank you, dear. Now I would like to go to the Zainab. So Zainab, you have a vast experience by covering this, climate or environmental related activities. So what do you say, or how do you see this climate change in the era of globalization? How digital world can be used as an effective medium to advocate for the climate resilience?
Thank you very much for that very important question. I am, first of all, super honored to be in a space where we get to learn from experts. So I would like to start my response to that, drawing inspiration from what Dr. Mohsen said in the last panel. It's very easy to be drawn into the current challenges that climate change poses to our country. But then when we put that into perspective in terms of time, when we think, oh, can we solve this in the future? That gives us more hope, more agency. Agency is a key word in my life for the last 7 months. It has been. As a Youth Foresight Fellow with UNICEF, that's what we work on, agency. Over futures, the sense of empowerment over your futures. I use the internet to access opportunities that help me train and educate people who do not go to schools about climate change. So with UNICEF, what we're doing is I'm using their Alternative Learning Spaces program to reach out to flood-affected children in the remotest corners of Sindh to teach them about climate change. Because it is important to recognize that while schools, formal education systems, universities and colleges are important in terms of mobilizing communities, we also must not forget actual climate victims who live through climate realities, the realities of climate change and climate impacts. So by reaching out to them, I'm constantly reminded of a 20-year-old climate victim that I interviewed for a UNICEF article, Sajida. Sajida, I interviewed over a telephonic call. She told me how in the 2022 floods, for 15 days, she did not have anything to eat, and her family. That her entire family suffered from malaria, that she did not go to school for 4 or 5 months, and when she did go back, she could not read or write. But apart from all of these things, she told me that her major worry was not knowing whether there will be another flood and whether she and her family would survive in another flood. This sense of hope.
So I hope the vision is clear because it's the era of digitalization, globalization. So अब clear हुआ होगा कि हम किस तरह से इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं इस medium को. So lastly, I would like to ask Jaya that Jaya, what do you? What? इतना भी खतरनाक सवाल नहीं पूछने लगी थी मैं जया से. I'm just saying that I'm not going to ask a dangerous question to her. Right, Jaya, what approaches and strategies can be adopted to bridge the gap between the academia and the communities with respect to initiative related to the climate adaptation? What do you want to say about it, Jaya?
First of all, thank you so very much for this important question. I'm extremely happy to see initiatives like PILE starting off where all the resources are brought together and seeing the representation of young people over there. That's really meaningful. Whenever we say there is a gap, it means there is an opportunity, because whenever we have crisis, there is the opportunities angle to it. If I have to respond to this question, I would say this is a huge gap, but then again, this gap needs to be filled with multifaceted and interdisciplinary approach that brings in together the knowledge, the expertise, the skills, and particularly the existing resources and the indigenous wisdom that we have. And it's not like that we need to do this in the first step, do this in the second step. Rather, I believe we need to go together and putting in our efforts together and not making it a linear or a ladder approach. Rather, make it in a way that we need to do it in a circle, doing everything together, making it a collaborative approach. And if I would have to suggest, I would suggest 3 strategies. Number 1, co-creation of knowledge. Number 2, outreach, engagement, and particularly the valuation of these engagement strategies for climate adaptation. And thirdly, in my opinion, we need to bring in together the resources for formal and informal education. Most of the time we are of the view that, hey, we do not have funding opportunities, we do not have enough space, but sometimes as an activist, I also see a lot of resources being misutilized, a lot of resources being wasted, where I believe we could utilize all those existing opportunities and resources to work for the vision, and probably we do not require the need to make out new resources or looking for those funding opportunities, because sometimes I feel, hey, we have a lot of money, it's just like the money is not properly channelized. In my opinion, we need to foster partnerships that are collaborative and sustainable between researchers, academia, as well as the community, and involving those communities from the start of the process. These researches need to be accessible, relevant, understanding the local needs, perspectives, and the priorities of the communities. Also, there can be opportunities where these researchers can engage then these